The very first thing that you need to do is to look at your calendar and categorize your events into two buckets. The first bucket is what we call the filler. These are events with net positive energy. And the second bucket is the drainer. So these are events with net negative energy. It's very important that you understand your social battery. It's actually not about whether you like people or not, but it's about how your brain processes dopamine. And so it's very important that you know that and you understand that. I'm also very mindful about the people that I surround myself with. I'm very intentional about my interactions. And I also realized that over time, I have developed this instinct to pull away or remove myself in an environment with the wrong energy. I do that subconsciously sometimes as well. Raise your hand if you already feel exhausted just by looking at your calendar in December. We actually call this the December dread. That specific exhaustion you feel by having so many obligations, yet so little emotional bandwidth. You look at the parties, the family dinners, reunions, the corporate mixers, and you feel heavy. And then, most of us think that the solution is better time management. We think that if we organize our calendar better, then we can survive it. But here's the hard truth that I want you to hear today. The reason that you're feeling exhausted or tired or you're having this holiday fatigue is not because you lack time. The reason is because you are abandoning yourself to please or accommodate others. And in this episode, we are going to stop that. We are not just managing minutes, we are auditing your energy. Hello, beautiful people. This is Loehr, a 28-year-old corporate leader and public speaker who is still learning out loud. And welcome to the Loehr podcast, where I share my messy, beautiful journey. In advance, Merry Christmas, everyone. Now, I want to take you back to last December. I want you to reflect on this with me. Looking back at December of last year, what was the specific moment where you felt really exhausted and depleted? For me, I remember looking at my calendar and I saw that I have free slots in my calendar. So I thought, physically, I think I can accommodate a specific event or a new invitation. But my body, my mind, and my soul were screaming no. There was resistance and I don't want to attend to that specific event. Now, I realized both in my corporate life and in my personal life, I was operating under a false pretense. I thought and I used to believe that if I had the time, then I had the capacity. But you see, we are not machines, we are humans. I came across this concept called the energy audit by researchers Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz. I haven't read the entire library yet, but this specific core philosophy changed my life. In fact, I created or made a video about this in my recent episodes. It's that time is finite, but our energy is renewable. We cannot create more hours in a day, but we can definitely change the quality of the energy we bring to them. So, how do we actually apply this in real life? Most people white knuckle their way through the holidays, but we are going to be smarter than that. I am going to share with you a 3-part framework to conducting your holiday energy audit, featuring some of the most important and big decisions I've had to make this year. Let's begin. Number 1, the audit. The very first thing that you need to do is to look at your calendar and categorize your events into two buckets. The first bucket is what we call the filler. These are events with net positive energy. And the second bucket is the drainer. So these are events with net negative energy. So to do this categorization specifically, you need to look at 4 dimensions of your energy: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. For physical, you ask yourself, will this event ruin your sleep or force you to eat something that will make you crash? For emotional, you ask yourself, is this event and energy vampire, meaning to say, are you spending time with people who fuel you and energize you, or are you spending your time with people who drain you? For the third one, which is mental, you ask yourself, will this event require you intense focus when your brain is already fried? Fried. And lastly, for spiritual, you ask yourself, are you doing this out of guilt or people pleasing, or does it align with your purpose? And when you do that audit and see that the event is a drainer, especially in the spiritual aspect, then I tell you to cancel or delete that event. This was actually a huge shift for me starting last year. I've had to make a very bold decision, and that is I am not going back to my hometown during the holidays. Okay, but let me be very clear. It's not because my family drains me or that I don't love them. I love my family. It's just that I realized that I was going home for the sake of doing it. It's like it's out of obligation and it's how things are done. And so I kind of want to challenge that belief. And I realize, although this can be a little counterintuitive to, be alone during the holidays, a very festive season, but I realized that I also needed it to reconnect with myself, to ground myself, and at the same time experience solitude in the festivity. So, yes, that's like one of the biggest decisions that I've had to make this year. Now, we go to the second framework. The second framework is knowing your battery type. It's very important that you understand your social battery. It's actually not about whether you like people or not, but it's about how your brain processes dopamine. And so it's very important that you know that and you understand that. So we have an introvert and extrovert, right? If you are an introvert, then social interaction generally drains you. Okay, you start your day at 100%, but every interaction allows you to lose 10%. And so, what you need to do if you're an introvert is to do what we call the bookend method. Okay, meaning to say, if there is an event or activity that you want to attend or you are planning to attend, then you need to set a very specific start time and end time because it reduces the anxiety knowing that there's an end to an event. So, for example, if the event starts at 5 and ends, I don't know, 12 midnight or 1 a.m., then you decide before going to that event, you already make a decision. You tell yourself, I'm going to go there at 5 p.m. and I'm going to leave at 8 or 9 p.m. So, again, that kind of reduces the anxiety and you have a reason to leave earlier at the same time. You won't feel guilty if you leave early as well. So that's for our introvert friends out there. Now, if you are an extrovert, then you're the opposite. Social interaction actually energizes you and fuels you. So what you need to do is to be aware or be cautious of what we call the extrovert trap. Okay, one of the reasons why we love social interactions is because, again, it energizes us. But sometimes we do it because we fear missing out. And what I realized is, especially for extroverts, if you surround yourself with the wrong people, you actually drain your energy faster than an introvert. Now, why is that? It's because as an extrovert, you absorb the energy in the room. And so if you spend time with energy vampires, you will definitely lose a lot of energy. So what you need to do is be very mindful about your interactions. So try to avoid shallow small talks and focus or invest your energy in meaningful, deep conversations with the social circle that you are with. Now, I would actually consider myself an ambivert. I mean, I can be introvert and extrovert person, but for me as an ambivert, I apply or do both things. Before I go to an event, I always like calendarize it so I know when the event starts and I know when I will be leaving the event. And at the same time, I am also very mindful about the people that I surround myself with. I'm very intentional about my interactions. And I also realized that over time, I have developed this instinct to pull away or remove myself in an environment with the wrong energy. I do that subconsciously sometimes as well. I think the only time that I feel that I am surrounded by a wrong charger or like the wrong energy is when I go on a first date and realize 10 minutes in that I don't like the guy. That's the only time. And then I find a way to, go home and leave. That's it. But in all seriousness, it's very important in doing our holiday energy audit that we know or understand our battery type. And then do some or apply some strategy to help you make that event more meaningful and more relevant for you. Now, we go to the third framework. And the third part of the framework is the tool we call the boundary script. I think that most people cannot establish or build boundary, especially around the holidays, is because we don't exactly know what to say. So here are scripts, two scripts that I'm sharing with you that I'm also using every time I say no to an invitation or set my boundary. The first script is again saying no. So you can tell the person inviting you that I don't have the capacity right now for additional events because I want to spend more time for rest. But I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy. As simple as that. The second script is actually saying no to family obligations, especially during the holidays. So, what I told my family is that I won't be going back home because I am trying something right now. But I love you guys, and I hope that you will be enjoying the holidays. I'll be calling you, and I hope you're okay with it. That's it. Okay, that's the thing that I told my family about me not going back to my hometown. And yes, I've had that conversation with my mom. And was she happy about it? Not. Of course not. Obviously not. She was not really happy about it. But that is the thing. A boundary does not have to be liked by everyone for it to be valid. And I think it's very important that we know how to communicate that boundary and use a tool that will actually allow us to relay what we want to say to the other person. Because communication is also very, very important when doing our holiday energy audit. So, here is my challenge for you, my dear listeners. I want you to look at your calendar right now, okay? Grab that planner, look at your calendar, and then identify which event is a drainer for you. Now, if you have spotted that drainer, I want you to cancel that or I want you to decline that event right now, or at least this week if you need more time. Okay? But that is my challenge for you. So let us summarize what we just talked about in this episode. Again, it is very important that you do your holiday energy audit by, of course, auditing your calendar, identify which events are fillers and drainers. Second is, of course, to know your battery type. Are you someone who gets drained easily by social interactions, like an introvert, or are you someone who is energized by social interactions, like an extrovert? And then lastly is use our tool. Make sure that you clearly communicate your boundary with the people inviting you so that you will also be able to show up honestly with them, and at the same time you are communicating that you value their invitation, they value the fact that they thought about you, but you really just don't have the capacity to accommodate the invitation. And I'd also like to share that I am doing this episode, especially, it's December, because I truly, sincerely believe that we all need to learn how to give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy and genuinely have fun during the holidays. I know that you guys have been so many struggles this year. You've faced a lot of challenges and problems. And I think that it is important that we give ourselves the chance or the opportunity to spend the holidays meaningfully and intentionally. And I really hope that you learn something from this episode and bring that lesson and apply that in your life. Now, if this episode resonated with you, make sure to follow the Love Ravina podcast because we are going to continue having conversations around leadership, public speaking, and growth. Until next time, let's keep showing up, speaking up, and leading boldly. Happy holidays!